For our last panel, I'm going to invite Dr. James Conrad, Dr. David Young, and Dr. Jennifer Warner to stage. And what we're going to do is talk a little bit about, over the last year, Ventureprise really made a pivot from a very community-focused organization to focus very much on the university and how we can transform the research and the technology and the ideas at the university and bring new programs in. So we've run a couple of pilots over the past, I guess, 9 months now, and we're going to talk to you a little bit about those and what we learned through those pilots. So with that, I'll kind of start and have, I know many of you aren't from the university, so it's, you hear from faculty and researchers, but it's sometimes good to actually hear what they do and who they are. So I'll have each one of you kind of introduce yourselves and give some background. So Jennifer.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Warner. I'm a teaching professor in the Department of Biological Sciences, and I also serve as the faculty director for the LEADS program offered through the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. And our primary mission in LEADS is to provide our students with opportunities to take what they're learning in their classes and their major and apply it to real-world problems so that they gain really substantial experience. So we focus a lot on experiential learning and the development of an entrepreneurial mindset with our liberal arts and sciences students. And ultimately, our goal is to make sure that we're inspiring innovative thinking with our students and that we're preparing them as best we can for their careers and for life in general.
My name is Jim Conrad. Is this on? Oh, I know it is now. So Jim Conrad, I'm a professor of electrical and computer engineering. I'm actually part of the I-Corps program that we have here on campus. I also teach entrepreneurship, and some of that is from experience. I work for a couple of startups, none of which exist anymore, and also with respect to what I do, I work more in the area of embedded systems and robotics, so I'm at some of the cutting edge of some of the technologies that are available now. And I work with students who have interests in entrepreneurial activities.
My name is David Young. I'm a professor of civil and environmental engineering, and I'm the associate director of the EPIC, which is the Energy Research Center on campus. I teach undergraduate and graduate students, as well as the administrative duties I have in the research center. I do my research in the areas of building materials and building systems, and I teach courses in building design. I ran my own engineering company for 12 years, small company, thoroughly enjoyed that. And most of my research is industry sponsored, so I bring that industry flavor into the classroom, and I try to give the students the background in everything that I teach them as far as where it's coming from in industry. So I enjoy that academic industry connection, and the EPIC Energy Center has been a marvelous platform to do that.
Great. Well, thank you all. So Jim has the rare distinction of being part of our I-Corps grant, but also I think he's served as an entrepreneurial lead on the team, an academic lead on a team. He's been on our teaching team as well. So he's pretty much had a position as part of the I-Corps program. So Jim, could you give a little bit of sense on your experience, what you enjoyed, what you didn't like so much?
Well, one thing I could tell you, I could guarantee you that engineering students love to talk to other people. And while I can go and I think all of you know the difference between an introverted engineer and an extroverted engineer, if not, ask me during the break later. One thing that I learned, at least during some of our I-Corps exercises, I ran an entire class over in electrical and computer engineering where students gave pretty much every 2 weeks a presentation on the interviews that they did. You saw some of the examples of what people do for interviews. And it's interesting to see how eventually these engineers, males and females, came out of their shells and in the end said, yeah, they appreciated it. And even if they weren't going to start a business, being able to delve into a problem and find out what people really want for a solution or what they'd be willing to pay for or what they'd be willing to pursue was very valuable for them.
Right. And I know, Jennifer, we ran a pilot this spring through the LEADS program in the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. Could you talk a little bit about that class and that program and the experience?
So we offered a class through LEADS this semester called Entrepreneurial Leadership in Action. And the focus of this class was to help students in the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences from all sorts of different majors to really help them learn about who they are as a leader, who they might become as an entrepreneur. And so outside of class, our students were partnered with an I-Corps team to serve as a support person on that team. So it was a really unique opportunity to take a class in the liberal arts and sciences and then take our students and put them on one of these I-Corps teams so that they could get that kind of experience.
And I know, Jim, in the class that you ran, you had over 40 students participating. What do you think for those, engineers that do enjoy customer discovery, what do you think drove those students to actually take the class? Besides the fact that you're an excellent teacher.
Oh, yeah,
Great sense of humor.
One thing I should mention is that we ran 2 sections of the class. One section was led by another faculty member, and he did the traditional let's write a business plan aspect. And then I ran the class where it's, we're not really going to publish a business plan. We're going to go through and develop a canvas, and we're going to look and do customer discovery via interviews. And I let them know up front, this is different than what's been done in the past. And they still registered for the class. Those who enjoy talking with other people, I think what they did is they learned how to focus on delving into not so much the technical problems, but why we should have a technical solution for a problem. In other words, you've heard the old saying, if you build it, they will come. We're not building baseball parks out there. These are products that take a lot of time with a lot of people. And we had a lot of students go through the process and understand what I thought was a really great idea, nobody wanted. And they learned something that not only for starting a business, but if they go to a larger business, what they could do in their larger company. Did I answer the question?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, Jennifer, when some people might think it's crazy to take a liberal arts history major and then team them up with a computer science faculty member and a graduate student. Was that a crazy idea this spring, or how did it work out?
No, I think it was an amazing idea. Liberal arts and sciences students are extremely creative. They're often very good communicators. They like to talk to people. So having these students paired up was just a really powerful way to bring strength to that team and to bring in a new and different perspective. And from the perspective of the liberal arts and sciences students, this was a really powerful way for them to get exposed to the entrepreneurial process. It was a unique way to be part of it and engaged in it in a pretty low risk setting. So it was a nice gateway for them to see what the process looks like and for them to imagine themselves moving into other aspects of that later in their career.
Right. Yeah. Now, David, switching gears a little bit, the EPIC Innovators program is designed to take promising research connected with industry executives. Could you talk a little bit about how this came about and how the program works?
Well, yes. About 2008, several large energy companies came out to UNC Charlotte seeking help in recruiting students, hiring students. They saw a retiring workforce and a growing workload and a changing energy landscape, and they needed people. And as we had those conversations with them, they were very impressed by the talent that was here, the resources that were on this campus, and said, well, let's do more than just that. Let's establish a program in which you can help us with some of our technical solutions, our problem solving, our research and development. And they, in the midst of the worst recession since the Great Depression, lobbied our state legislature for some type of facility on campus to make this happen, and the state said yes. So we have this beautiful EPIC building over here as a result of industries pushing that point on our behalf. Well, the state saw this as an economic development tool. The education is great, the research is great, but this could be a new economy for North Carolina, and we would like EPIC and other entities around the state to be a driver. So there was an economic development piece that was placed upon us as well. Now, we don't do that directly, but indirectly, they saw projects coming out of laboratories with high potential for commercialization, and they wanted to build an awareness through EPIC and programs like we're talking about, so that this, actually it's not stereotypical, it's true. Many engineering research faculty and students often aren't looking for that commercialization aspect of their work. They're thrilled about the work, but they're not thinking about it in terms of entrepreneurship or a business or a product. So with industry's encouragement, we've started this year something called EPIC Innovators. And we're not looking to recreate the wheel. We're actually teaming closely with Ventureprise to enhance the work that's being done on campus, to change the culture, to get these students and these faculty members thinking about commercialization and intellectual property and startups when they come across some good idea in the classroom or the laboratory. So that's the grand prize, is to change that culture and create that thinking.
Right. And so, kind of based on, that learning, and we know customer discovery is about getting out of the building, going and talking to people, but could you talk a little bit about, or whoever, about how research, how the customer discovery process and going out and doing those interviews is different than the traditional education that they're receiving doing research or in academia?
Well, I'll start. I know Jim will have something to say about that as well. But companies are coming in now. Part of our work with these energy companies is to set up opportunities for them to meet our students, for the students to meet them, get to know each other, and that may lead to internships and summer jobs and full-time employment. And what we're hearing more and more from these companies is they're looking for students that are not scared of change and that are open to adapting to the world that's changing around them, because it's happening very quickly. So anytime a student has a chance to experience that in the laboratory or the classroom and have a sense for this development, this new idea, this innovation, it will assist them greatly as they talk to these companies, because we're seeing more and more companies now not looking just for the technical competency, not just for the social skills, but are you open to change and innovation? It pays off.
And I'll give a concrete example of this. I don't know how many of you are aware, but the College of Engineering has a very well-regarded senior design capstone project event coming up on Thursday. And students have spent 9 months going through and making a design, and they're going to present their prototypes in an expo fashion, and it's going to be over in the basketball stadium of all places. So one thing that we've done is we've had a few groups actually go through the I-Corps program to say, all right, if I'm going to create a product that for the rest of the world, wouldn't it be nice if it were something that the rest of the world wanted? And so we have had student groups go through and, as a part of their senior design capstone project, first do the customer discovery to see what they should truly design, and then go through and actually do the design. That is invaluable. We had one student group that we were going to make a product that had several different components, and through customer discovery, they said, we just want one big box that we could all haul at one time. And so they pivoted. Those of you who've been through I-Corps are really familiar with that, right? And they actually did their final design with one big giant box.
And then, Jennifer, when you look at what's happening in liberal arts education around entrepreneurship, what are your thoughts? Where do you think it's headed?
So I feel like our students are really good at identifying the many problems that are in the world that they're getting ready to go out into, and they have a lot of creative and innovative ideas that can really become powerful solutions to those problems. What I see with many students in liberal arts and sciences is sometimes they struggle with the definition of entrepreneur and how they envision what that term means. They may not see themselves filling that role. So I think it's really critical for them to have these experiences where they can actively engage in solving problems and hopefully kind of revise and revisit their definition of what it means to be an entrepreneur so that they can see themselves being in that role in the future. So my hope is that with our liberal arts and sciences education, that we're going to provide more opportunities for our students to actively engage in entrepreneurial activities so that they can see that this really is for them too.
Great. So I think with that, we'll thank our panelists for spending the time with us today.